Hello everybody, and welcome to How to Write a Close Read, the Rewrite Edition. I'm Miss Phillips, the teacher, and today I'm going to teach you how to write a close read essay. Now, writing a close read is not super easy. However, you can achieve the grades you desire by following my steps. Now, first thing you're going to do is open the prompt from Google Classroom. Ta-da! Okay, and then you're going to go back to Google Classroom and look at all these different tools that the teacher assigned you. Okay, maybe we haven't looked at them in a while, and that is okay. I want you to open up each and every one of these assignments to help you. Okay, first we're going to start with the classic process for writing a close read. We're going to begin the brainstorming phase today. First, you need to carefully read the prompt. Let's do so. Close read prompt for the poem Lynching. During Jim Crow, black men and women accused of crimes were frequently denied a judicial process. Consider the case of John Henry and Samuel Barry in Roll of Thunder, so we definitely need to discuss them at one time. In Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. How does the black community respond to their burning, and how is the same terror of lynching reflected in the poem The Lynching? Little fun fact about poems, they're in quotes, not in italics, and that's how I put it there for you. Okay, so if you put it in italics, you got marked off. But it's okay, you're going to rewrite it. Now, we just read the prompt. What's the next step? Write down in your own words what the prompt is asking. Okay, I'm going to do that right now on this page. Okay, so the prompt is basically asking me to compare. Well, let's make this a new font and a bigger font so we could all see. That's a good font. Okay, compare what happens to the Barrys / John Henry / Cassie and family to what happens in the poem. Okay, focus on the feelings. Okay, also discuss author, word choice, connotation, etc. All that kind of imagery of the poem, poem. There we go. Okay, next step. Reread the text to look for answers. Okay, so what the prompt is essentially asking you guys is for you to pick out different, oops, that's not what I wanted. There we go, close read. Okay, different moments or images or words in this poem that relate to what happens in Roll of Thunder, okay? A lot of intense emotions are happening during this time, and we want to pull from that, okay? So I'm going to reread this poem and try to pick certain images that stick with me, that stand out, especially if it has strong word choice, okay? And then go from there, okay? So let's reread this poem. Thankfully, it's short. His spirit is smoke ascended to high heaven. Oof, that is like, his spirit is smoke. That is an image right there, okay? His spirit is smoke. I'm going to annotate that for later, okay? His father, by the cruelest way of pain, had bidden him to his bosom once again. Remember we talked about the father being God, okay? That kind of relates, but I'm not as drawn as some other images, okay? The awful sin remained still unforgiven. You could maybe be like, what is sin? Like, what sin? Which one? Okay, that could stand out to you maybe. All night a bright and solitary star, perchance the one that ever guided him, yet gave him up at last to fate's wild whim. So we're in like the nighttime. Hung pitifully over the swinging char. Okay, so that's definitely big imagery right there, okay? But we have to talk about that the star is hanging over the charred, basically the charred body that is swinging in the breeze. Oof, kind of spooky. Day dawned, and soon the mixed crowds came to view, the ghastly bodies swaying in the sun. The women thronged to look, but never a one showed sorrow in her eyes of steely blue. Ooh, steely blue, I like that word or phrase right there. It's pretty interesting. And little lads, lynchers that were to be, danced round the dreadful thing in fiendish glee. Oh, that last two lines, this is called a couplet, when the last two lines rhyme. All sonnets have them. Okay, if it will let me like highlight it, that'd be great, but whatever, I'll just highlight fiendish for now, okay? So, lots of imagery in this poem, lots of intense moments, okay? You only have to pick 3 that relate to Roll of Thunder, okay? So let's go back to what we're supposed to do next, okay? Reread the text, look for answers. Now I'm going to answer the prompt in my own words, okay? So, oops. The prompt is basically asking, how does the Black community respond to their burning? That's in Roll of Thunder. And how is this reflected in the poem, The Lynching, okay? So, in the poem, The Lynching, both the poem, okay, poem and ROT have feelings of terror, helplessness, anger, fear, kind of goes with terror. I'm just kind of listing things right now. Frustration, okay, etc. I want to make sure that you understand this is the Black communities who are feeling this. All right, I'm just kind of not making a sentence just yet. I'm just kind of trying to brainstorm my thoughts. Okay, so let's see. Now, I want to also answer author's word choice, WC, in poem reflect the feelings of Cassie and her family, okay, and also the greater Black community. Okay, did I address what happens? We're comparing. Yes, they both of them have it, so I did my comparing, so I'm going to kind of strike this out so I remember, okay? Focus on the feelings, definitely talk about the feelings, terror, helplessness, anger, fear, frustration, cross that out, and I discussed author word choice and imagery of poem. Author's word choice and poem right here reflect the feelings of Cassie, blah, 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 okay? So I effectively answered the prompt. This is not obviously a thesis statement just yet, but I answered it in my own words, kind of just jotting down my thoughts as is, okay? Now, ooh, that is my pizza rolls. One moment, please. Okay, here we are, back, writing the close read, ate my pizza rolls, watched some TV, chilled out a bit, cleaned, and now we're back to homework time. Woo! Okay, anyway, so we left off on, we rewrote our prompts, answered the prompt in our own words, okay? And I double checked that I answered every single part of the prompt, okay? I suggest you do this as well. Next step of the brainstorming phase, and then we're almost done. Find 3 examples, okay, so 3 quotes, that show / prove your answer and explain in shorthand why you picked them. Okay, so I kind of did this a little bit off screen by hand, okay, but I'm going to write down what I brainstormed on my own, okay? So looking back at the text, what you're going to do is you're going to look back at kind of the parts you highlighted or marked before and see which 3 can you pull from the most? Which ones are you going to have the most to talk about, okay, relating to Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, okay? So I picked my 3, and I'm going to list them on this separate page right here, okay? So I'm going to make a new page, okay? Number 1, my first example. Now, I could do this in a separate order if I want to when I actually put my essay together, but for now I'm just going to do it in the order it appears in the sonnet, okay? The first one was the first line, his spirit is smoke, Okay, that one is my first quote. I like this one a lot because this is an example of a metaphor. Okay, this is a literary device. His spirit is smoke. Okay, not a simile. A simile is like his spirit is like smoke. That would be a simile. But it's saying his spirit is smoke is a perfect example of a strong metaphor. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. Now, how would this compare to Roll of Thunder? How, first of all, what feeling is evoked by saying his spirit is smoke? Okay, so what I'm going to think about is like, well, his spirit is smoke. How can I find out what the emotion is from that? I want to think about that imagery, okay, in my head. That image of his spirit is smoke. Comparing smoke to someone's spirit. Okay, so give yourself a little moment, think about, okay, what does that make me think? I'll wait till you write it down. Okay, this is what I thought. All right, so first of all, smoke, okay, as an image, makes you think of what? Well, obviously it makes you think of something burning. Okay, burning, fire, rising, like kind of ashes. What else? Let's think. Smoke, smoking. It can make you think of like a smoker, even though that's not really in this case. But let's just write it down. Okay, nothing is a bad idea. Nothing's worth throwing away. What else does it make you think of? Did you say something different than that? Add it. Add whatever else you wrote down here. Okay. And I'm going to erase this because it looks weird, but you're just going to add that in mentally. These are the images that you think of when you think of the word smoke. Now, how does this relate to someone's spirit? When you think of someone's spirit, you think of, oh, it's like holy, it's, something inner, your soul inside you. Now, why would they compare it to smoke? What kind of emotions does this evoke? Okay, I think it evokes a sense of anger, in my opinion, okay? Because kind of comparing it, burning, fire, ashes, all this stuff kind of gives you a red color, red, gray kind of anger feeling. It's strong, okay? His spirit is smoke. It could also make you think of weakness, however, consequently. I know that sounds weird, but smoke is very wispy. It's very, I'm going to put a question mark here, weakness? It's very wispy. It's very, I don't want it to capitalize, but fragile. That's not really the right word, but I'm just going to write it down, etc. Okay? So, can you think of a time when you felt angry, yet weak at the same time? Well, I can. I think Cassie and her family definitely felt angry, but weak at the same time. But weak, okay? Now, this is not to say that they are weak people or they're not literally strong, but I think this means that they have to be held back. They can't actually openly retaliate or fight back to the white people, okay? So I think that's like an interesting thing. His spirit is smoke. It's like it's showing this anger, but it's also giving up in a way. He's gone, okay? So I'm just going to write that down, all right, as my brainstorm. Whew! Number 1 is done. Number 2, I put the hung pitifully o'er the swinging char. Okay, a lot of you did this one. This is a good one to do. Okay, and I'm going to do the whole phrase. Ooh, that's not what I wanted. Hung pitifully o'er the swinging char. Woo. Okay, now, obviously the focus in this sentence, I'm focusing on 2 separate words. This one I focused on spirit, okay, and smoke. The next one I'm going to focus on pitifully, and obviously the best one, which is char, our vocab word, easiest word to spell. Okay, so first of all, char, when you think of char in and of itself, it's kind of a hard sound, okay, to have the word char in there. Now the poet originally puts this in so it rhymes with star, which is in the poem itself, but to use the word char is a very harsh sounding word. So I'm going to write that down. I know that sounds really like random, like why would I care about the way a word sounds? But I'm going to write it down anyway because it's just saying it out loud has an effect on you. What effect is that? Think about it. Okay, what effect did it have on you? Could it be maybe this makes you think of the harsh, not jarsh, harsh realities that the Black community has to face? Question mark, maybe? Okay, I think so. Or maybe it makes you think of like harsh, okay, harsh sounding word, maybe makes you think of his harsh fate of being this like just hunk of meat on a rope. Terrible, okay? Speaking of meat, when you think of the word char, did anybody think of a char burger? Remember have it, anybody? All right, char, the word char kind of makes me think of like charred meat, okay? Meat. I'm using too many arrows. Equals meat. That's what I literally wrote down. I wrote down pathetic. Okay, to compare someone to a piece of meat makes you think that they're kind of pathetic in a way. Okay, or not really human. Okay, why wouldn't they say swinging body? Okay, they said char. That was a choice. Okay, now all these things, all right, how does this relate to Roll of Thunder? Okay, well, to me, not only I'm going to bring up the burnings again, I'm going to bring up the berries this time, okay? So char in and of itself makes you think of burnings, okay? And I think more than ever, okay, thinking about how they're a piece of meat, they're pathetic, they're not human, it kind of relates to me to the helplessness felt by the Black community, okay? I think that to think of a body as a swinging char, ugh, and hung pitifully, that means it's like to give it pity. It's so sad, okay? I'm going to also add char plus pitifully equals helplessness and burnings, okay? I think this speaks to how the people feel when they talk about Sam Barry's death. They're all kind of upset about it, but they can't do anything. And it's just a horrible thing. If you can imagine this kind of indignation, there's a fancy word for you, but I want to get into that in the next one, okay? Now, finally, number 3, everybody's favorite, danced around the dreadful thing in fiendish glee. Whew! That is some sentence right there. This poet is amazing. Okay, what's his name again? Claude McKay? Yeah, that guy was the real deal. All right, let's look back. So, write the whole phrase out. Danced round the thing. Oh! Not even saying the body or the man, the thing. It's not even human anymore. It's a thing. Okay. In fiendish glee. That's rough. Okay. Oh, I hate when this happens, when it's like a weird space. Okay, there we go. Now, obviously, what do you think the words that stand out? Okay, obviously fiendish. It's one of your vocab words. Okay, what's another word that stood out to you? Maybe it was the word thing, okay, like it was to me. Or maybe it was the word glee. Glee. Ugh, just saying that makes me think like glee, like a little like demon, like, oh, okay. Whatever it was, pick it, okay? Just write it down, even if it's danced. Instead of like walking around, danced around the thing in fiendish glee. It makes you sound like a weird like shanty moment. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to first of all talk about the word fiendish, okay? Obviously the word fiend, if someone's a fiend, you always hear that in like old cartoons, like, you fiend! How dare you? Okay, it means they're like inherently evil, okay? Evil, devilish, I almost wrote delish, devilish, demonic, like a demon, cruel, whatever, okay? That is a very negative connotation, all right, to have. Fiendish glee makes you think of these like little imps, okay? That's what makes me think of. Children are these imps dancing around their kill, okay? It's kind of creepy, all right? I'm just going to let you know. I mean, I think you guys thought that when we first read this, but I'm going to write it down. It makes me think of something devilish, okay? This obviously is pointing to the other side of the story, which is the white side of the story. Now, this, I want to also point out, doesn't mean to say that all white people were horrible human beings during this time, okay? But most were, especially in the South, especially in states like Mississippi, where Cassie is from, okay? So I'm going to write down that this talks about the white reaction, okay? Now, when we think of the white reaction, okay, who does this remind you of in the story Roll of Thunder? Should be a quick one. If you guessed the white people on the bus, you were right. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the white children on bus, making fun of little man. Oof. Little man throwing, mud at him, splashing him, all that kind of stuff. Okay, what do you think this points? What feeling in the Black community does this point to? Okay, well, I wrote down frustration, and remember I mentioned that fancy word for frustration, indignation, okay, about how they're feeling. Now, they're not just, incredibly sorrowful, I mean, it is kind of, but it's like this, and almost disgusted. I want to say disgusted, because if you saw people dancing around a corpse in fiendish glee, you'd be like, oh, especially if it was one of your own, okay? These are all emotions I'm going to talk about when I address this quote, okay? So I know that was a lot of work, but brainstorming is the hardest part, you guys, really. Okay, if you get all this right, the rest of the writing, even if you're not the best, put together of words person, okay, you can still get a decently good grade, all right, as long as your essay has substance, and all of this is substance. Okay, now don't feel bad. I wrote a lot to kind of show you the best example in my own point of view, but if you had just one of these things, that's totally fine. Okay, if you just wanted to mention just it's a metaphor and metaphors are good, okay, all right, but you definitely need to go into the comparison, because that's what the essay is really talking about. You don't have to go into all this detail about the sounding words, okay? That's like a Miss Phillips thing. I'm a little weird like that, but don't get overwhelmed. Just kind of do one or two things. I'm doing a lot just to help you, all right? All right, so begin writing essay, not stopping to correct word choice and phrasing. Try to pretend you are writing a speech. Use a formal tone, okay? So don't write like you talk, okay? Here's a bunch of GIFs, or is it GIFs? I don't know, of you writing, okay? And crying in the middle. I'm crying because I was like, oh my gosh, why did I agree to do this on a Thursday night? But it's okay, all right? I love you all, and I want to do this for you. Hopefully you're still watching. Are you still watching? Okay. Let's open a new document. When we begin class, we begin with changing our font to Times New Roman. And then we begin by putting it in 12-point font as well. Oh, so lovely. Did I forget a step? I did. We also have to make it into double space. So good before we even begin writing. That is so true, Deirdre. Okay. So, let us write our first name. Full name, no numbers needed. My name is Sarah Phillips for the purposes of this exercise. Press enter. Oof. You can write your teacher's name. Now, a lot of you spelled my name wrong on your MLA format. You consequently got a point off. Don't make that mistake again, dear children. My name is Miss M-I-S-S. Space, no period necessary on a miss, okay? Phillips, P-H-I-L-L-I-P-S. Oh, such a beautiful name. I love it so much. Press enter. Then you can write your subject, and this is English Language Arts, or ELA for the shorthand. Press enter. Then you're going to do the date that you started this document, even if it's the day right before you were supposed to turn it in. Believe me, I don't keep track of that stuff. I just make sure it's in the correct format. I have better things to do with my time. Today is January 17th, 2019, in the year of our Lord Jesus Christ. We are going to not start with the month, not start with the year, but start with the actual day, the 17, no comma necessary, space, January, spell it all out, space, 2019. And one more, enter. Oh, so excellent. Okay, I knew it. Center it again. Write creative title or just title to come back to it later. Don't forget to come back to it. I'm looking at you. All right. Press enter again and go back to left align. Now, this is the part where most students forget. What am I missing in this section of the page? My header. You have to go to Insert, Header, and Page Number. Click Header. Okay, it's over here. You can't do that, so you have to go right line. Now, fun fact, if I just start typing, oh no! It is not in Times New Roman. The fool. I'm not going to do that again. Let's go and make sure it is in Times New Roman 12-point font. And you think Miss Phillips can tell the difference? She most certainly can. She has a very rewarding life of telling the difference in fonts. So excellent. Okay, write your last name. Phillips is mine. Space, what? Just one. And then you're going to go back to Insert, Header, and Page Number. Page Number, the first one right here where it has the 1 and the 2. Click, and you're done. Excellent, and it'll automatically do the header for you in every single time. That is MLA format. It's really so easy. If you can just follow those instructions, it'd be so perfect. Okay, switching out of the British accent for a second, let's start actually writing this thing. So we're here, we gotta press tab. Full indent, don't do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. No, do a tab. It will do it correctly. All right, some of you didn't do a full indent and it was kind of annoying. Full indent. Now we gotta start writing. I'm afraid. That's okay. It's okay, Sarah. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Okay. So, what's the first thing we're going to start with? That is our thesis. So I'm going to go back to my detailed close read outline or my brainstorming notes. And I had right here, Black communities in poem and ROT have feelings of terror, helplessness, anger, fear, frustration. Also to mention, author's word choice in poem reflect the feelings of cast in your family / the Black community. Cool. How do I make this into a coherent thesis? Well, a good place to start is always to list the titles and authors of the works you are discussing, okay? And that was part of the outline that I actually skipped. So we're going to do that right now. So, let's see. Do I want to start with in the classic in Roll of Thunder, blah, 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 or do I just want to go Roll of Thunder, blah, 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 has this, da, da, da. You know what, I'm going to do that, all right? So let's start with the book, italics, Roll of Thunder, and it's also not only Roll of Thunder, but Hear My Cry, that's the full title, okay, by Mildred D. Taylor, and the poem, The Lynching. Oh, and poems, by the way, are in quotes, I forgot to tell you that, but whatever. I did have it in the prompt, so if that didn't say, oh wait, prompt, oh, it's over here, okay, right here. Okay, just if that didn't, you didn't get that. But you know, it's cool. All right. In the book Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry by Mildred Taylor, and the poem, I'm going to put a comma after the book, okay. The poem The Lynching by Claude McKay. How do you spell his name? Let's double check. McKay, okay. McKay. And the poem The Lynching by Claude McKay both include instances of racial violence on the Black community. How about that? How does that sound? So far, so good? Okay. I didn't obviously address all the other stuff in here, like feelings and word choice and whatnot, but I set up the comparing. Ooh, so good. Okay. Both include instances of racial violence on the Black community. Okay. Now I'm going to mention word choice and feelings. Okay, the word choice, literary devices, and imagery McKay uses all show, oh no, how about all reflect? All reflect the feelings felt, I don't really like this sentence, but I'm going to come back to it later. I'm just going to write and not care, okay? Feelings felt by Cassie and her family and friends during the Jim Crow era. So far, so good? Done! 2 sentences! Yeah! That's all your thesis needs to be, is 1 to 2 sentences, okay? Points if you can get it all in one, but sometimes it's not as easy. But do not go on and give all the details of like they hung a guy, they lynched a guy. That's obvious. We're going to talk about that later. Just kind of say the basics and make sure you just address each section of the prompt. Did I talk about compare and contrast? Yes. Or not really contrast, just comparing. Did I talk about comparing? Yes, I said both comparing, okay? Did I talk about focus on feelings of the Black community? Yes. Feelings felt by Cassie and her family and friends during Jim Crow era, and I mentioned Black community. Done. Did I talk about the author's word choice, etc. that help it? Yes, done. Once you got that, you check off every single part in the prompt, you're good to go, okay? Now, I'm not really a big fan of these sentences yet, but that's okay. We can always come back to it, all right? Now we're going to move on to our first TLQ, okay? So, first TLQ, first quote is, his spirit is smoke, okay? So let's first of all talk about what it means to write a TLQ, all right? Oh look, Miss Phillips put how to write a TLQ. How to do TLQs. Now, if you can't remember how to do a TLQ, please address and use this amazing tool I've given you, examples on how to write it. You can also Google it if you need help, okay? But I'm going to show you right now how to do it. It's pretty easy. Really, the only difficult part, you guys, I know the only hard part to struggle is the lead-in. All right, and if you could master the lead-in, you're going to be golden. All right, so let me show you how to do this. Let's go back to our document, shall we? Okay, so my first quote I'm going to use is the his spirit is smoke metaphor, okay? And I'm just going to go straight in my TLQ. I don't need anything else kind of setting it up. I'm not going to do that. I don't need summary. Please don't do summary, okay? You're just trying to give background for me, but you don't need to go nuts, all right? So, first of all, we need a transition, okay? You can use any number of transition phrases. It's totally cool. To me, when I always like to start my first quote, I like to do like to begin, or to start, or first off, stuff like that, okay? It just kind of flows a lot better than if you just were like, for example, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it's like, just let's do it, all right? So I'm gonna start with first off, comma, woo, transition done, okay? Then I'm actually gonna just write my quote out, all right? The whole quote. His spirit is smoke, I think is as descended into heaven. What was that? Ascended to high, his spirit is smoke, ascended to high heaven. Okay. His spirit is smoke, ascended to high heaven. Ooh, quote, period. Don't put it before, do it after. Okay, and I just need to fill in the blank space here. Okay, just need to fill in the blank space. Now, how am I gonna lead into this? If it's at the beginning, how do I do that? How do I set up it? There's nothing before this. Okay, but you can just say, the author begins his poem with a strong image. That's a perfect lead-in, you guys. It's perfect, okay? You can just do that. First off, McKay, let's just say McKay. Let's use his name, okay? Because then we're talking about two different authors here. It's kind of misleading, okay? McKay begins his sonnet, let's use the fancy word for poem, okay, with a powerful image, comma, his spirit is smoke, ascended to high heaven. Do you see how this is a good lead-in? I don't need to say, like, first off, the man's spirit went up to heaven, comma, his spirit is smoke, ascended to high heaven. It's like, no, don't restate the quote. Just set it up for me. Just explain what's happening. Give, you know, somebody some context, okay? I like to just kind of go, he begins his sonnet with a powerful image. His spirit is smoke, ascended to high heaven. Perfect. It gets a little more challenging when you're later on. So maybe if this came easy, you're like, oh yeah, obviously, okay? That's totally cool. All right, let's move on. TLQ, what comes next? Analysis and explanation. 3 to 5 sentences, not 1 sentence, not 2 sentences, but at least 3, preferably more, okay? 3 to 5. You cannot hope to get a good grade on analysis if you don't do this. Just trust me, okay? Please, even the best writers in the world, myself, I'm just kidding, even the best writers in the world need more than 1 sentence to explain, all right? So I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to explain all the stuff I have here. Look at all this sugar, all this to talk about, okay? I have it. Spirit, no, how about the word The phrase, his spirit is smoke, is a metaphor. Oh, look, we talked about that in there. It's a metaphor, okay? Which, let's say, makes the reader think of, think of images of burning, fire, ashes, and maybe fire. Think of images of burning, fire, and death. I'm just kidding. And rising ashes. Boom. Okay. This creates the feeling of Hold, please, while Miss Phillips thinks of what to write next. Makes the reader think of images of burning, fire, and rising ashes. To compare someone's spirit to smoke suggests that it's oh gosh, this is okay. I can do this. It's only 9:45. You can do this. You can do this. Okay. To compare someone's spirit to smoke suggests negativity. I don't really like this, but you know, hey, let's just finish the sentence for now. Okay. Smoke is also whew! Oh, it took me a while to get there. Okay, that's cool. I know this is kind of like fancy words, but look, Miss Phillips made some mistakes, okay? Not grammar mistakes, but like, you know, we can make better words than this, okay? But we're gonna come back to it later. We're just doing our first draft, which is totally fine, all right? I just finished talking about all of this right here, all right? But I still need to compare it to Roll of Thunder. I haven't mentioned it yet. I just talked about the word choice, but I have to talk about the characters in Roll of Thunder. And don't just say like the book characters felt this way. Be specific. A lot of you just kind of just glossed over Roll of Thunder. Talk about actual people, okay? I'm going to do Cassie in this one, Barry's in the next, and Little Man at the end, okay? So let's do this. All right. This is similar, comparing words, to Cassie's feelings in Roll of Thunder. And in this case, you can abbreviate it since it's not the beginning of the paragraph, okay? Cassie's feelings, how about Cassie's feelings? No, let's just keep it. Cassie's feelings of Roll of Thunder and her family are constantly subjected to racist hate and ridicule. Causing her to feel rage. That's fine. Rage, okay? But due to the racial climate of the Jim Crow era, blacks could not fight back. This led to led to their feeling of weakness. Double dash. The fact that they can't stand up for themselves makes them, I keep saying makes, okay? Allows? No. Shows? leads, no, I already said leads. I'll just write it, I'll fix it later. Leads to feeling defeated. Ooh. Okay. How many sentences was this? Let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoa! Way too many sentences there. But that's okay. We can cut it down later. If you did 7 sentences, I wouldn't be mad at you because this is good analysis. Okay, but don't feel like you have to go nuts like I did. Okay, just 5 at max is totally cool. All right. Let's continue on, shall we? And we'll link them later. All right. Next, TLQ. Straight off the gate, let's just use an easy transition phrase. In addition, comma, boom. Okay. Next, hung pitifully over the swinging char. That is my quote. I'm going to write it all out. Pitifully or the sea to sky. Okay. How do I do a lead-in for this? Well, first of all, what's hanging? What's hanging pitifully over the swinging char? Let's set up the quote for everybody. Or let's set up what's happening, okay? This came right after all night a bright and solitary star. Oh, I was wrong. It was not the body. It was the star was hanging over the swinging char. Oof. Whew. Freaky. Okay, let's do this. In addition, the poem describes a solitary star which, comma, hung up pitifully over the swinging char. This isn't the best lead-in, but hey, it flows. Okay, and we're setting up the quote. Okay, and we could talk about solitary star feeling helplessness, lonely, solitary. Okay, we'll go into that in a little bit. All right, TLQ, boom, done. All right. The word char itself has a harsh sound to it. Harsh sound, period. Okay. Char, using char instead of body or man itself has a harsh sound, displaying the harsh realities of this time period. Using char instead of body or man also makes one think of, I'll fix this later, think of meat, charred meat. This shows the pathetic, inhuman qualities of the thing swinging in the night sky. You can be poetic yourself. Hey, go for it. I'm feeling poetic. I'm gonna do it. All right, let's do it. Okay, this shows the pathetic, inhuman qualities of the thing swinging in the night sky. Okay, I just addressed all of the stuff of the word choice. Whee! Okay, then I'm gonna do is compare it to a roll of thunder. Okay, this is similar, blah, 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 blah. Okay, something like that. Let's not do this is similar because I did that earlier. Berry, the berries. Oh, wait, no. When people talk about the berries burning in Roll of Thunder, they point to the pitiful nature of their fate. This shows, I'll say shows for now. This shows the helplessness that the Black community felt being and by comparing the lynched body to a swinging char or piece of meat, McKay draws on this feeling. Boom! Done. Okay? Done, done, done. Did I address the things I wrote in my brainstorming? Yes. Did I talk about harsh sounding word? Yep. Did I talk about, I didn't really get into harsh fate, but that's okay. Did I talk about meat, piece of meat, not pathetic, but not human? Yes, I did. Did I talk about the berries and how they feel helpless? Yes, I did. How many sentences with that? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Woo! Cut myself down. That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. Let's do the final quote, okay? Finally, let's just do that. Finally, comma. My final quote is not dancing, round the thing in fiendish glee. Quote, period. What's a good lead-in for this? How do I set up this? Who is dancing? First of all, you're going to ask yourself, who, what, when, where, why? Okay? Who's doing this? Remember the lads, the lynchers to be, okay? Lynchers to be dance around the dreadful thing in fiendish glee, okay? What would be a good lead-in to lead up this? Finally, the poem ends. That's how the poem ends. With the image of white lads, white boys, let's say white boys. White boys who danced around the thing in fiendish glee. I'm gonna do, actually, you know what I'm gonna do this. Dancing, and I'm gonna do this like fancy bracket thing. Woo! Dancing around the thing in fiendish glee. Okay. That's a good one. The poem ends with the image of white boys dancing around the thing in fiendish glee. Okay? That's a great lead-in. Do you see how a lead-in is like, it's so like complex, but yet it's very simple. This isn't very long. If your lead-in is like almost as long as the quote or longer, then you've done something wrong. Okay? Just try to make it like flow into one sentence. If you read it out loud to yourself, it should all kind of flow into one sentence. Finally, the poem ends with the image of white boys, quote, dancing around the thing in fiendish glee. Okay? If you did finally dancing around the thing in fiendish glee, done something wrong because that makes no sense. Who is dancing? What is happening? I don't even know what you're talking about. Okay? And if you go, finally, the poem, or white boys begin dancing around the thing in fiendish glee like little imps, quote, dancing around the thing in fiendish glee, okay? Don't like restate it so many times. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple, okay? You can do it, all right? Final analysis. Let's do this thing, you guys. We're so close. Fiend, evil, devilish, demonic, cruel, imps, dancing, white. This is showing the white reaction. This is compared to that. Perfect. Let's do it, okay? Fiend has a negative connotation. I keep saying showing. I'll just write it down. Okay. Exposing? No. Displaying? Yeah. I said displaying already, but it's okay. Suggesting? I said suggesting. Symbolizing? No, it's not symbolizing. See? I know it's not that easy. Okay, but you can do this. Let's just do showing for now. We'll change it later. Fiend has a negative connotation. Showing... Hold on. Fiend is negative. Connoting evil. Connoting the evilness. No, connoting evil, devilish, demonic. Might not include that. And cruel. How about the connoting? The evilish, devilish, demonic, and cruel behavior of the white children. It makes... No. makes one think of imps dancing around a creepy fire. I'm not gonna keep that in there, but I like putting that in there. Oh, also don't put I think. Don't do that. A lot of you did that. Don't use I, you, or me, or we. Just keep it there, okay? Just do one or the reader or the audience or stuff like that, okay? Pro tip, okay? This example pinpoints the white reaction. How about the reaction of whites during this time? In Roll of Thunder, Raleigh of the Thunder, the white children and bus driver consistently toy with little man. Okay? These instances, examples, these moments, these episodes of throwing mud, I don't know how to spell throwing mud, splashing, and yelling obscenities. Do I know how to spell obscenities? Obscenities, excuse me. That's a fancy word for bad words, okay? At the children leads little man to feeling extreme, did I say extreme already? We'll check later. Frustration and disgust. These feelings were commonly felt by the entire Black community during, did I say during this time like 5 billion times? Were commonly felt by the entire Black community. Okay, so concluding sentence. We want it to bridge off of the last little part, so this is what I'm going to do. We just talked about little man getting made fun of in the mud, okay, but we have to kind of tie it all back with the lynching and end on a mic drop note, okay? So let's try this. Although getting sprayed with mud is a lot less intense than being lynched, okay, right, we obviously, the feelings of anger, helplessness, and despair plagued the Black community for years. Stories in Rolly, I did it again. Hear my cry and the lynching both show these horrific emotions, yet their recording of these horrific scenes and emotions, yet the recording of these, by even recording these moments gives Black people, gives those shunned, no, it's not strong enough, gives those Black people, no, those silenced Black people a voice. Their faith and resilience in this time of hatred, it would not be swayed. And they are our model for all today. All today. Getting a little too preachy. Let's see. Their faith and resilience in this time of hatred would not be swayed. And eventually, as time would tell, it paid off. No, I'm just kidding. Their faith and resilience in this time of hatred would not be swayed. And eventually, as time would tell, their traits of bravery and strength persevered through the darkness. Oh, that was exhausting. I know that was like maybe that was 3 sentences. That's fine. That's cool. Cool. Better if you can do it in less, but that's cool. Oh my gosh, I did it. I did it, you guys. I did it. What's next? Proofreading, print out your essay, read through it for grammar, spelling, word choice, and awkward phrasing. Oh, so much awkward phrasing. Do it. Please print it out. You will catch so many more mistakes if you do that than if you just read it on the screen. And now, that being said, I'm just going to read it on the screen. Okay? And have a peer and adult do the same. I am an adult, so I'm going to skip that step. Then rewrite it, read through it one last time, and print it, and you're done. All right, let's go. All right, I'm going to save my title for the very end after I read through the whole thing. Okay, let's do this. The book, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry by Mildred D. Taylor, and the poem, The Lynching by Claude McKay, both include instances of racial violence on the Black community. The word choice, literary devices, Oxford comma, come on girl, and imagery McKay uses all reflect the feelings felt by Cassie and her family and friends during the Jim Crow era. Oh, okay, that's a little awkward there. I don't really like that. The word choice, literary devices, imagery McKay uses all reflect, let's just say reflect the feelings felt by Cassie. Feelings felt, reflect the feelings felt by Cassie and her, let's just say her community. I know we already said community. During the Jim Crow era. Fine. All right. First off, McKay begins the sonnet with a powerful image. Quote, his spirit is smoke ascended to high heaven. The phrase, his spirit is smoke, is a metaphor which makes the reader think of images of burning, makes the reader think of burning, fire and rising ashes. To compare someone's spirit to smoke suggests negativity, burning and fire symbolizing anger. Burning and fire symbolizing anger. Okay. Smoke can also be wispy and faded. However, let's just say that. However, smoke can also be wispy and faded, showing the fragility or weakness of its subject. What the heck does that mean? Okay, let's fix that. Showing the fragility or weakness. I want to just say showing fragility and weakness, Miss Phillips. Goodness. Why do we have to be so rando? Okay, that's so much better. This is similar to Cassie's feelings in Roll of Thunder. Cassie and her family are constantly subjected to racist hate and ridicule, causing her to feel rage. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be with the mean comments, hateful names written in the textbook. It's so much helpful if you could do specific examples. That's so much better than just being blah, 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 blah. Okay. Cassie and her family are constantly subjected to racist hate and ridicule, with the hateful names written in the textbook. Ugh, okay, I don't like it. How about this? Subjected to racist hate and Cassie and her family are constantly subjected to racist hate and ridicule. as shown by, I don't like that. Link, do it! Scouts in your family are constantly subjected to racist hate and ridicule. Period. Let's do it. For example, I know I'm just using our open transition. The hateful names written in the textbook cause her to feel rage. Yeah, boom. But due to the racial climate of Jim Crow, period, blacks could not fight back. This led to their feeling of weakness. Their feeling of weakness? Ugh. This led to a feeling of weakness. How about that? Weakness. I don't really like the word weakness. Let's do led to a feeling of, I like deflated, of, this led, oh, I said that like 5 minutes. Let's cut this. Okay, do this. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, let's just cut that. Just cut it. Boom, done. Okay. But due to the racial climate of Jim Crow, blacks could not fight back. The fact that they can't stand up for themselves leads to them feeling defeated. In addition, the poem describes a solitary star which hung pitifully over the swinging char. The word char itself has a harsh sound, displaying the harsh realities of this time period. Using char instead of body or man also makes one think of charred meat. This shows the pathetic, inhuman qualities of the thing. The author... Yeah, no, that's that. This shows the pathetic, inhuman qualities of the thing swinging in the night sky. Yeah, boom. When people talk about the berries burning in Roll of Thunder, when the black families, oh, that would be more specific, talk about the berries burning in Roll of Thunder, they point to the pitiful nature of their fate. This shows the helplessness that the black community felt, and by comparing the lynched body to a swinging char or piece of meat, McKay draws on this feeling. Cool. It's a little overdone, but, you know, it's good. Finally, the poem ends with the image of white boys, quote, dancing around the thing in fiendish glee. Fiend is negative, connoting the evil, devilish, demonic, and cruel behavior of the white children. Ah, excellent. It makes one think of imps dancing around a creepy fire. I like it. This example pinpoints the reactions of whites during this time. In Roll of Thunder, the white children and bus driver consistently toy with the Logans, especially Little Man. These episodes of throwing mud, splashing them with rainwater, and yelling obscenities at the children leads Little Man to feeling extreme frustration and disgust. Did I say extreme already? Yeah, I know, I'm fine. Okay. Like Little Man, these feelings were commonly felt by the entire black community. Although getting sprayed with mud is a lot less intense than being lynched, the similar feelings of anger, helplessness, and despair plagued the black community for years. I've said like black community like 5 billion times, but let's just keep it. It's okay. The stories in Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, and The Lynching both show these horrific scenes and emotions. Yet, by even recording these moments, give those silenced black people a voice. Their faith and resilience in this time of hatred would not be swayed, and eventually, as time would tell, their traits of bravery and strength persevered through the darkness. Crying, it's so beautiful. It's a little preachy at the end, but you know what? It's cool, and it's kind of fancy-fance, and if you have that fancy-fance skill in you, by all means, do it! Do it to it, my dudes! Alright. Let's take a look at the last step. Did I do everything? Did I read through it one more time? Oh! You know what I forgot? I forgot to make an actual title. Let's do that. Okay? What would be a good title for this? Black like a phoenix. No, I don't like that. Let's do Phoenix Rising. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to put that on the bottom. The imagery of a phoenix. Yeah! Okay. Persevere through the darkness. Like a phoenix rising through the ashes. Or a spirit as smoke. These people overcame these prejudices and succeeded in spite of the haters. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. In spite of adversity. That's better. Boom. And then I'm going to make my title Phoenix. Phoenix Rising. Yes! Yes! Oh, it feels so good to do a good essay. Yeah. All right. So, any questions? So, if you have any questions, all right, write them down and tell them to me on Tuesday, and we will discuss it, okay? But use this amazing example. I'm going to post this on Classroom for you so you can reference it to help you rewrite your essay, okay? Obviously, please do not copy me, all right? But just try to mirror the type of thinking and thought process and writing that I did, okay? Okay. It is now 10:22 p.m. on a Thursday night, and I have work tomorrow, but that's okay. Thank you so much for joining me on How to Write a Close Read. I'm Miss Phillips. Thank you, and good night. We're gonna move. I almost said any questions. I'm like, oh wait, I'm alone in my apartment, so. This is the teacher's. What is Cassie's last name? Teacher edition. What's their last name? Logan! Oh! I knew that. Okay. With the Logans, especially the tinier. Woo! I actually forgot my password. I had to reset it. Fun fact. I just had it in my head and I lost it. Let's go back. Stretch break. I'm gonna make this over here so I can see it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, whoa. Make it a little bit in your Google Classroom assignment. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's read this over. Comparison is very. Alright. Analysis! Let's do this, okay? Supersonic.